What does Mateus need to do, Ross, to get the call up into the ones this week?
Look, get through the session today. It's more likely than not. So trains with great intensity, he's a great athlete, real strong mindset, and I think the reality is we would prefer we had a string of performances where the door wasn't open, but that's not what's occurred the last couple of weeks, so there's real opportunity for him to come straight back in.
He was really good for a period late last season playing in the midfield. Do you expect him to go back into that role again?
Yeah, all pre-season he's trained as an inside mid. We know he can play forward, but spoke to him, he said, like, my mindset, like, he's going into his third year now, he's learnt so much, and he's not desperate to get the ball as much as he wants to get the ball. He goes, I really want to play my role within the team and help the team be better. So he said, my mindset's just so different to when you come in as a young player where you're just desperate to get the ball and everyone's talking about are you getting the ball or not. He just understands there's so much more to AFL football. It's important that you can contribute, but so he's in a really good headspace. This is the sort of kid he is. It was a stress reaction of the femur, and he'd been in our top 4 over summer with output and going really well and blossoming as a third-year player. And so I went home a bit flat, which I probably shouldn't do. And I texted him, hope you're okay. And he said, don't feel sorry for me. This is an opportunity for me to get better. So it was like, that talks to his mindset, and that's what we love about him.
Has young Hugh done enough to get a crack?
I'm certainly in the mix. There's a few in the mix. Like, I don't really want to go through them all. Although the VFL got beaten, so he's a big inside mid. We play a Perth team, so that's interesting. Bit of a quirk. So look, he's right in the mix. We're talking about it. We've got a few balls in the air that we're just trying to figure out that magic mix for the midfield, really.
Ross, I just wanted to ask you about Hugo Garcia after the early start.
Yeah, he's alive, he's breathing.
We saw the vision of you talking to on the bench as well. Is this a valuable learning opportunity for Hugo? Do you play him again and hope that he can play the role that you want him to play? Yeah,
he's great. Like, I understand there's been a lot of noise around it. Like, it's quite interesting what it's been labelled, and that's all good, right? So he was like, he goes, I'm no victim. Like, he goes, you just coach action. He'll play this week, so he's fine. He goes, if I talk to the media, he goes, I was telling the truth, I was playing shit. I said, you probably can't use that word, so not at your best, Hugo. So, he's good, right? I hear the noise, right? So I think everyone can have their view of what coaching is, and there's no place for this and that. There's no trade-based language. I do not label them personally. I just coach action. So if you think you can be droll and measured the whole time and get a response, sometimes what you are, they'll elevate to what you are. So you're trying to spark a little bit, right? So it's all about action. I don't talk about the colour of their hair, what sort of person they are. I said, like Cooper Sharma, can you get up? Ronnie, can you have ball security? Hugo, can you have some opponent awareness? In an animated manner, right? So I'm really comfortable with it. I'm really comfortable. But everyone can, when they get the job, they can do it their way.
You mentioned post-game.
The one thing I do want to clarify, because this is important, like my post-game presser, and I asked that journalist when she asked, what did you think? What did you think? And I certainly wasn't trying to elicit or embarrass anyone, because I thought it was obvious, and I thought she nailed the two things. So, but it's a sharp reminder, just answer the question and don't engage too much.
You mentioned post-game in that presser maybe not being mentally tuned in. How do you ensure that the boys will be mentally tuned in?
Yeah, well, each week we're trying to ensure it. We'll just put into context, they've won 21 or 23 games now. I think they lost 2 games out, or maybe 3 with the Collingwood loss. Like, they're pretty handy. We're virtually the 3rd youngest list, trying to evolve and change from the 2nd oldest list in 21 and the 5th oldest in 22, and now at the start of 25 we're the 3rd youngest. So that's just context, right? But that doesn't mean I'm less accepting of trying to execute roles. So mentally they can put you on the back foot. Then they come off a bad loss and they're just ferocious, right? They're physical, they're ferocious, and which is what we've been at times, right? But the challenge, you can finish top 4 and lose 7 games. Like, it's going to happen. I'm seeing last year's grand finalists at 2-5. So you know, it is a tough competition, and it's a good reminder for me too to understand and keep context for our performance. So we're just in the growth mindset space, take the feedback, but we want to improve really quickly, individually and collectively, and for our fans and our members and our sponsors and everyone. More importantly for ourselves. Look.
What do you make of the Alex Taru suspension in the VFL? Obviously,
Sorry, I can't hear.
The Alex Taru suspension in the VFL on the weekend obviously was upheld last night. What does his next sort of 4 to 6 weeks look like?
Yeah, well, is it 4 or is it 6 weeks?
4 weeks is there.
Yeah, but in reality? Yeah, so we're incredibly disappointed. I'm really frustrated. It talks to a broken system. So we've already had one bye. We're having another bye this week. So I just don't understand the human side. So the blow up on me making a sub. So we got a first year top 10 draft pick that if you think the penalty's 4 weeks, that's okay. But they know we've got a bye, and then at the end of that there's another bye. So how the tribunal doesn't take into consideration that it is 6 weeks. Noel Bolter got 4 weeks stand down for an assault off the field, with respect. We got a kid that can cuss the player, but it's a 6-week penalty. And there's just no consideration. Like as Paul Roos would say, common sense is commonly uncommon. So like I'm filthy. And it talks, and no wonder AFL clubs talk away, let's have a breakaway group from a 22-team competition and just have 4 or 5 clubs just play each other. Because it's not worth the risk. And there's no recompense or consideration or adjustment for the realities of a misaligned fixture of what is a feeder competition to the AFL, and the AFL funds it. Yeah, so I'm absolutely filthy.
So would you like an AFL reserves competition?
Hey?
Would you like an AFL reserves competition?
What I would like would be common sense to prevail here for a young player.
How do you?
Because we talk about mental health. We're talking about mental health of a kid getting feedback about opponent awareness. A kid's been suspended for 4 and missed 6. How do you reckon his mental health's going at the minute? And mine. Yeah, so our media manager's like, wow, that was solid.
This is good, Claire. We're going to get this
Yeah,
done.
yeah.
The rundown tackle, Ross just wanted to ask about Paul Curtis' suspension last night. I think the general consensus has been that 3 games feels too much for...
Yeah, what am I allowed to say or not allowed to say? Like, it's way, I think. I think what's not taken into consideration is the professionals of AFL players that are now getting tackled and take themselves forward really easily and willingly, knowing that they're going to draw a free kick, probably. Now, did that happen in that case? I don't know, but it's the common sense is commonly uncommon, isn't it? Like, I think we all look at that and go, we understand the outcome, but was that intent? Yeah, could he have taken his arm away? I don't know, it's starting to get is a consideration for future legal threat and bite back taken away from the essence of the game. I think you could start to argue it is.
How can you?
Thanks, guys. That was Jimmy.
Happy to help.